How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Crypto Unveiled YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll be talking about Verasity, or VRA for short. You can see the current price of VRA is currently 0.0014 cents per coin. So about, I guess you could say, well, actually it's 0.14 of a penny right now. But you can see the market cap is currently sat at $14.17 million, actually up 15% over the last day alone. So it's doing, Verasity right now is doing incredibly well, which is why I wanted to go ahead and bring out a video about Verasity. See, the 24-hour volume for Verasity is actually up 1,000%, guys. The volume for the last 24 hours has absolutely exploded. It's going crazy right now. You can see the volume over the last 24 hours alone for Verasity is $50.6 million. While the market cap is only $14 million. So the 24-hour volume is actually over triple what the current market cap actually is right now. So there's an incredible amount of volume in Verasity right now. And I believe that is only a good thing, just showing that Verasity does still have a lot of people interested in it, and just still has a lot of, it's still very, very active and has a lot of people still interested in this coin. You see, the amount of holders that are currently holding Verasity is almost 98,000, I guess you could say, wallets which are holding Verasity right now. You can see on here, the max supply, it says max supply of Verasity is 100 billion. And the circulating supply is only 9.62 billion Verasity currently circulating. This is not true at all, guys, so do not worry, because if you have watched my videos in the past, you would know that I do not like to invest into coins which have very low circulating supply. This is because that if you do invest now and the circulating supply is low, when the rest of the coins do actually come into the market, you're going to experience a hell of a lot of dilution. And basically it's just going to dilute your position and basically mean that even if the coin goes up a lot of money, when the rest of the coins do actually come into the market, you're not going to actually make much money at all. However, I am glad to tell you that these numbers on CoinMarketCap are not actually true. The actual tokenomics of Verasity are actually quite complicated, but I believe the actual total supply of tokens which can actually get released onto the market is around 20 billion. So I believe the circulating supply is actually around 50% of the max supply, or the total supply, which, again, is still a little bit low. I like to see it around the 70 to 80%. I believe that's the normal, good, healthy range for the circulating supply be compared to total supply. But, with it being 50%, it is a little bit lower than that, but it's not the end of the world. But yeah, do not stress, it is not 10% of the total supply. Just the tokenomics for Verasity are a lot more complicated, and you have to go into a lot more detail to actually figure out what actually, how the actual tokenomics behind Verasity actually works. I have actually made a video on the tokenomics of Verasity in the past, so I believe it's probably quite a while ago now. But maybe go back a few Verasity videos and actually talk a little bit more in depth about the tokenomics. But yeah, we're just not going to talk about that in this video. But yeah, let's go back to the chart. So over the last day, up 15.8%, guys, over the last day alone, which is incredible to see. You see, over the last 7 days, it has it's been fairly stagnant. Then it's gone down a little bit of money. It's been basically moving sideways. It's gone up and down, but overall stayed very stable. And then, like I said, over the last day, has actually had quite a big, nice pump up basically back to the price which it was around a week ago. I believe there was a little bit of negative speculation about Verasity over the last week, which probably explains why the chart did actually dip down here. I believe there was quite a lot of people actually spreading quite a lot of FUD about Verasity over the last week. People were extremely negative about Verasity. They believed that the team was going to rug pull. All these things were said on Twitter about Verasity. So that's the reason why I believe the price did actually take quite a big hit over the last week. But as you can see here, I believe that all this fear and all these people saying all these negative things did actually, it passed, and we'd actually seen Verasity pump back up 15% over the last day, which is incredible to see, because I do believe that Verasity does have potential 100%. Only time will tell, of course. But yeah, make sure you stay to the end of the video, because I'll actually talk about my personal price prediction for Verasity. Again, if we look at a little bit of a bigger picture over the last month for Verasity, actually up 28.5%, which is incredibly cool. And yeah, if you look at the chart here, you can see just over the last day how big the spike actually was, how big of a spike up it actually is. And yeah, just to see Verasity actually doing these numbers over the last month is incredible to see, because if we switch to the yearly chart now, you will see that over the last year, all it's seen for Verasity, apart from this spike up here, which, this is quite a substantial spike up, it seems like the rest of the year for Verasity has been very negative. There's been a lot of people who have been spreading lots of negativity about surrounding Verasity, and a lot of people have been getting out of Verasity, not investing in it, and this basically explains the chart right here over the last year not doing incredibly well. If we switch to the all-time chart, you can see that people who invested at the start would actually still be up a decent bit of money, I guess you could say. But for the amount of time holding, it definitely would not be worth it. Only 88% from when it's first released, which is it's definitely not great to see. I would say that it's not great to see. But however, on the positive, if we look at the potential for Verasity, we look over here in late 2021. You will see the price of Verasity went absolutely parabolic. You can see over 7.5 cents per coin, which is just absolutely crazy compared to the price of Verasity right now. You see, it had a huge run up in 2021, and ever since then, it's been very stagnant. I believe that many people have forgotten about Verasity. Many people are not investing into Verasity right now. You can see there was a few small little spike ups down the bottom here, but of course compare it to the all-time high, these are very, very small in comparison. So I do believe it's a bit of a shame for Verasity, because I believe they had a bit of a rough time here because of how high their all-time high was right here. I believe it got a lot of people hyped. Then many people must have sold off, creating this very, very big spike down. And ever since then, there has not really been much going on with Verasity, basically. I mean, I found Verasity, I believe, around a year and a bit ago. I first started talking about Verasity, and I really do believe that Verasity does have a lot of potential. Just the technology alone and the actual goals which they're actually trying to do. And if we, forget about the chart and all about that stuff, the technology that they have and the actual goal behind Verasity and their mission I believe, is such a strong and great mission that I believe that Verasity will do well in the future. And of course, only time will tell, but I really am very hopeful for Verasity. So what actually is Verasity all about? So I've been talking very well about Verasity this whole video. So what actually is Verasity all about? So on Veracity's official website, verasity.io, you can see how they do a quick little explanation, I guess you could say. So it says the new standard in transparency and all these different things. It's new standard in accountability. And you can see here, through our advertising ecosystem of Veracity's patented POV module, we're transforming the black box ad fraud industry. And this is the main thing to take from this sentence here. Black box ad fraud. So this is the thing they are trying to tackle. This is the huge problem that Verasity are trying to tackle. This is the reason Verasity has actually been created, is to actually try and solve black box ad fraud. And so what actually is black box ad fraud? In the most simple way, I guess the biggest example of black box ad fraud that I could give you is people using bots for basically creating fake views on YouTube would probably be my biggest example. Of course, there are many different examples over different social medias, but I guess the main type of black box ad fraud would be, botting views on, I guess you could say on Twitter as well, Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, all these different things. Basically, people will use bots to actually, boost the amount of views or likes or comments on their videos or posts or whatever, to actually gain more monetary value. And of course, this is very bad, because where does the actual money come from that are actually paying these people? This is, of course, from companies that are advertising on these platforms. And the reason why these companies actually advertise on these platforms is, of course, to try and get a return on their investment. So they, of course, spend money on adverts on YouTube, for example, or Instagram, in hopes that people go onto the, real people go onto these videos and watch the advert and buy their product or services. Of course, if bots are actually using these, are watching these videos, of course, the actual creator who actually are using these bots to bot the views are going to be making money. However, the actual advertisers which are paying the money to these social medias will not be actually seeing any return on the investment. So, of course, inevitably, if they keep seeing no return on their investment, they are going to stop investing in these social medias. And of course, if all these companies suddenly say they do not want to invest into these social medias, then the amount of money that creators can actually make from these YouTube videos will drop drastically. And of course, this is a whole negative spiral, because these people who are botting the views will also see a dip in money. And, eventually, if everyone keeps using these bots and all these things, that then no advertisers will be paying YouTube, for example, and there will be no money to be made. And maybe YouTube will even cease to exist, because then why will creators bother to actually upload onto these social media platforms if they're not going to get paid? It will not be worth their effort, apart from if they're doing it from their own passion. But of course, then if they are making no money, then the videos won't be as high quality, because these creators do not have the time or the money to actually invest into the video. So like I said, it is an absolutely massive negative spiraling effect. So this is why Verasity, I believe, is so needed to actually tackle this problem. And like I said, if Verasity does actually manage to, become a little bit more mainstream, and these bigger companies adopt Verasity and start to use Verasity, I believe that Veracity's price would go absolutely insane. And I really truly do believe that. And if we look at the market cap of Verasity, you can see how low the market cap actually is. I believe I'd call this between a micro cap and a small market cap coin. $14 million, I believe, is extremely undervalued for what Verasity actually brings to the table. I believe Verasity would be way higher, which actually comes into my personal price prediction for Verasity. In my opinion, I believe conservatively that in the next year or two, if all goes well with Verasity, and of course depending on the market conditions, if we start to get back into the bull run, which we've been seeing very recently, like a lot of coins, altcoins especially, have been going back up into the green, I believe that a 10x would definitely be feasible for Verasity. Of course, this all depends whether or not the team are here to stick around, because there has, like I said, there's been a lot of negativity around the team recently. There's, like I said, over the last week alone, there was a big drop in price. But I believe that if the team are, if they continue to communicate with their investors, they are, they continue to adapt and improve Verasity, I believe this is going to improve trust, and the price of Verasity is going to go up and up and up. And if we even only get back to what the all-time high was, I mean, that is easily, what's that, around I want to say around a 40 to 50x of what we are right now, just to hit the all-time high that it has already hit in the past, which would be, absolutely crazy. And I believe that has potential now to even go surpass that and go further than this all-time high that we hit in the past. So apart from that, guys, I'd like to thank you very much for watching the video. Let me know what you think about Verasity in the comment section down below. Are you invested into Verasity already, or are you looking to invest, or is Verasity actually not a coin for you? Just let me know in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you do hit that like button, and I'll see you guys in the very next video. Peace.